Hi, family, and welcome back to Girl Get Up. I am your host, Jaira. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. Girl Get Up is a platform designed to inspire, empower, and educate women in the urban community. Today, we have a guest that I would love for you guys to meet, the beautiful Tabetha. Welcome back, guys. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the beautiful Tabetha.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for your kind words. I'm so happy to be here. I don't venture out during the pandemic much, so this is like a day off. And plus, also I'm a new mom, so mom guilt. Just know that I felt good leaving because I knew I was going to do a good thing.
I didn't know. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, us, me, my production team, the community. We do because we need to hear from strong black women, strong black men too. We do men, yes. But right now we're going to focus on our women right now. We definitely need to hear from you. Tabetha, introduce yourself for the viewers.
Sure. So to be brief, my name is Tabetha Wilson. I'm a lifelong resident of Albany. I grew up here. I was a third born in a family of 6 children. I loved reading as a youth. It was kind of an escape for me. I love anything creative. I think that's really what my strength is, my creativity. And I love to be of service to others. I think I've found that although I was more of a quiet and bookish child, if someone was having an issue, I love to work it through with them. And that's something that came out in my youth. It came about in my activities in school, clubs, and so forth. And even when I chose my returning home to Albany, I was a part of an internship initially where I said, how can I contribute back to my community? So I think that's sort of like the long and short of understanding who I am as a person. Currently, I'm a board member at the City School District of Albany. I'm a secretary, and this is my second term. I consider it my second term because I was appointed initially and ran. Okay. And I do that with so much pride because I'm a product of the Albany City School District. I graduated from Albany High, and I love to represent not only my community by being a liaison to the schools in my old neighborhoods, but also building bridges with students to fight for all students for what they deserve and what they need.
Yes, and we appreciate you because we definitely need people like you, Tabetha. So it's Black History Month, obviously, and we've brought you up here so we can talk about issues in the urban community within our community. So what are some things you can touch bases on within the issues in the urban community here within Albany?
Well, what I'll say first is being that touching base on the fact of me being bookish, I think I also delved into not only books but history. And I think we have to understand that anything happening today has a historical root, and we have to look at what were the structures in place, what contributed to our current condition, and why are there things such as disparities between, our lifestyles, our health, our educational attainment, where did these come from? Why are communities, why have they been divested from intentionally? Why are there such a thing as redlining? So I think understanding history, we can understand how we got here and to understand where we want to go next. And when I say we, I think we have to communicate as a whole community and not leave anybody out of the conversation. So who's around us, who isn't here right now speaking up for themselves, who's a demographic that isn't being represented. So I think that's how the lens we take and we apply to what's going on in our community, whatever we think may be an issue. And I think that's how I throw myself at things, is understanding, wait, here's something that I care about because I care about it because, I'm a woman, as you mentioned. I'm a black woman. I care about it because this is my community, this is my home. I care about it because it impacts my brothers, my sisters, my mother. So I think that's how we sort of take responsibility. And I think that's the thing that you'll see everyone's doing in their own way, and everyone's sort of bringing what they can to a situation is, what do I can take responsibility for around me? How can I impact the world?
Wow. So deep. You're such a beautiful person. I see your spirit. It's just glowing. No, seriously. And I'm an empath, so I read people very well.
I consider myself an empath, too. I'm very intuitive. I think that's where the quiet comes from. People take the quiet as like a passive trait. It's not. I think I'm more so, it's like energy thing for me.
And see, mine's is like I isolate a lot, but I do that because I feel like I have to
charge.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And people don't understand. They're like, you act funny last week. And I'm like, no.
And also sometimes it can be a lonely feeling because sometimes you think, are people treating me this way because they think I'm putting on a pretense. Like, no, I really feel real hard. I cry over movies sometimes, not that every movie naturally, but I can feel things.
And I do commercials.
Yes.
Good, but it's good, bad. No matter what it is, I'll cry at wedding. I'm crying. The baby's born. I'm crying. A scary movie. I'm crying. So I'm definitely there with you. But I've seen it. I seen it. I'm really good. But we're off topic here.
No, actually it's on topic because I think we have to. My thing is I very feel strongly about tapping in. To how I feel. So, like, another thing people may know is if you follow me online, I have, like, a sense of humor, so to speak. It's not a cruel sense of humor. It's more like a dry, right. Sarcasm, if you will. But then you may be in a room with me, and I'll be like this. So people, it's like, I think we have to understand we're tapping into different energies at all times. So, that's how we deal with stuff.
Wow. No, you're absolutely right. Oh. Like you.
Well, I just hope that everybody understands we really just met.
Literally just met. Like when you guys met, I met.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tabetha, I'm really just over here like, what it is that you have going on this month?
Okay, that's a great question. So right now it's January leading into March, and many organizations that I serve with, I'm on a couple boards. I want to shout them out. Of course, AVillage. I'm currently sitting as a president. I'm there with my fellow board members and people who care about the South End and basically transforming the lives of people in the South End and helping people to be self-determining and prioritizing, marginalized voices, advocating for those issues in the South End. So things that we like to do are, for example, we have this infamous Thursday night market, which was a thing all the way up until pretty much the winter. We had vendors out there selling different things, and it was promoting, independence and from an economic standpoint.
Where was this?
The South End, which is Warren Street, is where it was located, and we brought it inside for the holidays too, for vendors to have that experience. So what we're doing now is sort of sourcing with the people in the community who care about that initiative, how we will build not only Black wealth but community wealth in the South End. So we had a survey, and we're sort of digesting through the night that we had of the platform for that. And then another initiative we're working on is to source basically winter gear for people who either are facing homelessness, marginalization, isolation. If you just need simply a coat, we're going to partner with our community to distribute that also. And so that's one organization. Another I'm with is, of course, I'm a member of the Junior League, which is a women's service organization, for lack of a better term, to just keep it brief. But I'm also on a committee that deals with legislation, and we're also working to basically ramp up as we go into Black History Month and highlighting Black women's contribution to our society throughout history. My angle, I want to look at 50 years in the future, who we're talking about right now. So likely who's doing the work today, and also 50 years ago, it really isn't too long ago from 2020. Right. So it's really going to be up-to-date individuals that we're going to be highlighting and their contribution, as we saw throughout history, going back to Fannie Lou Hamer up to today with, of course, Stacey Abrams. So we're going to be examining, the contribution of Black women. Other groups that I support, of course, are Grant Street Community Arts, who has programming in the South End, of course, to sponsor a scholar as well. I'm a mentor to someone, so shout out to Rafal.
So for people that want to get involved in a mentorship program, how do they go
I would say there's more
that?
than one in Albany. You actually had a colleague of ours here, Paul Batman. So he has a program, of course, with Edmund J. O'Neill, which is one of our public schools. There's Boys and Girls Club. There's, of course, I mentioned Sponsor Scholar. There's a couple of ways. I would say first, look at local, where you reside, and communities of need. Where could you fill a gap? So I don't want to point you to a specific community agency. I want to say find your fit and what your passion is. Perhaps you want to serve young men. Perhaps you want to serve young women who come from your community. So you want to reach back in and find out how you can serve them and find a good match for yourself.
So for our viewers that want to donate or volunteer with any of the organizations that you work with, how would they do so?
I always start basically by going to people's Facebook pages and Instagrams and finding out more about what they do. Often you see that they work directly in the community. Then from there, there's likely a contact us page or something of that nature. So I would say, also, or whoever you heard it from, I often say, if you heard me talking about something, I likely know where to point you. So similarly, if you follow someone online, you can ask them, where can I find out more about this? And then From there, I also say, like, go to the source. Do you want to serve young people in high school? Not going to door up a high school. A principal will be glad to assist you in communicating, connecting
I see
you.
that.
Absolutely. So I say it depends on where you want to give back. Like, I have colleagues who garden, and for example, shout out to Soulfire Farm. I would connect if someone was interested in gardening. I would try to connect them with them. So I think it depends on what your interest is.
Okay. So for the moms in there that's maybe single moms that's looking for programs for their sons, or we got parents that's looking for tutoring for their children but that can't afford,
Well, I would say, start with if you are a parent, and it depends on, of course, start with your child's school, because really I know from my perspective sitting as a board member that we work tirelessly with community partners. So often people are coming from outside into the school to do just what you stated, to work with students on photography or arts programs or basketball and things of that nature. So I would always point you right to, that intersection of your child's school. From there, there's likely people in your community. Often I hear my mom actually is telling me a lot of things because she watches the news religiously. So she's like, I saw this and that, So often they're trying to reach you and you're trying to reach them, and it's mainly about taking that initiative to find that synergy.
Right.